welcome to the Jeep Dive, where we cut through all that noise,
Sure.
and get right to the juicy insights.
Uh,
We're diving headfirst into Liquity V2 today.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah. So this is an upgrade to a DeFi protocol that's really making waves.
It is.
If you are interested in DeFi or stablecoins or just making your crypto work harder for you, you are in the right place.
I think what's really interesting here is how Liquity is kind of pushing the boundaries of what's possible with decentralized finance. For those who might not know, Liquity V1 has been like a powerhouse in the CDP space.
Right.
Collateralized debt position.
Yeah.
Facilitating over $4.6 billion in loans over the past 3 years.
Wow.
It's really known for its reliability, like rock-solid reliability.
Liquity V1 definitely earned its stripes.
It did.
But even the most successful projects, they can evolve, right?
Of course.
From what I've seen, V1 faced some limitations,
Yeah.
particularly when interest rates went through the roof. And being tied to just ETH as collateral.
Right.
It seems like V2 tackles these head-on with some groundbreaking features.
It does, absolutely.
Okay.
One of the most significant introductions is Bold,
Okay.
a new stablecoin that's joining LUSD, the existing one.
So a new stablecoin.
A new stablecoin.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is how Bold is minted.
Okay.
Users deposit collateral ETH steth, or UTH,
Okay.
and that's it. No other collateral types.
Interesting.
And borrow against it.
Okay. So Bold is minted similarly to LUSD?
Yes, very much so.
But why create a whole new stablecoin?
Right.
What makes Bold stand out?
That's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Unlike a lot of stablecoins that are just pegged to the dollar,
Right.
Bold is designed to offer real yield.
Okay.
Similar to what you see with Black's a token model.
Okay.
Think of it as having a piece of a decentralized, transparent treasury that generates passive income.
Now that's a compelling proposition,
It is.
especially for those of us looking to make our crypto work harder.
Right.
Let's dive into the mechanics a bit.
Sure.
One thing that really caught my eye was this idea of user-set interest rates.
Yeah.
This is unheard of in traditional finance.
Right.
Could this lead to instability?
Yeah.
Especially during high market volatility.
That's a sharp observation, and it's a question a lot of people have.
Yeah.
Here's how Liquity addresses that.
Okay.
First, the interest rates have a set range.
Okay.
0.5% to 10%.
Okay.
So while you do have the flexibility to choose,
Yeah.
there are guardrails in place.
So that prevents people from setting crazy low rates to game the system.
Exactly.
But how does Liquity mitigate the risk of a rush of redemptions if the market takes a downturn?
This is where it gets clever.
Yeah.
When Bold dips below its peg
Mm-hmm.
and redemptions happen,
Yeah.
they're prioritized by interest rate,
Okay.
lowest first.
Got it.
So if you are risk averse,
Yeah.
you can set a higher rate,
Right.
knowing you have more buffer
Okay.
before you're in line for redemption.
So it's a bit of a balancing act there.
Yeah,
It gives users a direct way to manage their risk tolerance
it does.
while also influencing their borrowing cost.
Yeah,
Almost like a built-in options market
exactly.
for stablecoin loans.
That's a good way to put it.
So you don't even have to actively manage your rate if you don't want to.
Right.
Liquity V2 lets you delegate that rate setting
Yeah.
to your hot wallet or a third-party service.
Yeah, you got it.
Similar to how some DeFi protocols let you automate yield farming strategies.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got a good handle on how Bold is minted and the dynamics of the user set interest rate.
Right.
But let's get to the part that I think everyone is really excited about.
Okay.
The yield.
Sure.
How exactly does Liquity V2 make those sustainable gains happen?
This is where the model gets innovative and, dare I say, disruptive.
Okay, I like it.
V2 channels 100% of the interest paid by borrowers back to Bold holders.
Wow, okay.
75% goes to the stability pool depositors
Okay.
who backstop the system.
Right.
And that remaining 25% is where things get really exciting.
Well, then don't leave us hanging.
Okay.
What happens to that last 25%?
Well, it's allocated in a way that really empowers the Liquity community.
Oh,
They're calling it Protocol Incentivized Liquidity, or PIL. PIL, essentially LQTY stakers.
okay.
That's Liquity's governance token. Get to vote on how that 25% is used.
Okay.
This could mean boosting liquidity in specific pools,
Okay.
rewarding market makers who keep things running smoothly,
Yeah.
or any other initiative that strengthens the ecosystem.
This PIL concept is fascinating.
It's pretty cool.
It's different from the traditional protocol-owned liquidity model,
Yeah.
where a protocol controls a fixed treasury.
Mm-hmm.
This seems much more dynamic
It is.
and responsive to the community's needs.
Yeah.
It reminds me of how some DAOs are using these innovative funding mechanisms.
That's a great parallel.
Yeah.
What Liquity's doing is giving the community real power to influence where that revenue goes. They're betting that this dynamic, community-driven approach will make Liquity V2 more adaptable and resilient in the long run.
It's a bold bet.
It is.
And I'm eager to see how it plays out.
Me too.
It could potentially set a new standard
Right.
for how these DeFi protocols are governed and funded.
Yeah, for sure.
But before we get too deep into the future of governance, let's come back to the present.
Right.
One thing that sparked quite a bit of debate was Liquity's decision to license the V2 codebase instead of making it fully open source.
Right. That was definitely a controversial move.
Yeah.
Some saw it as a betrayal of the open source ethos.
Right.
But I think it's important to understand Liquity's reasoning here.
Yeah. I'm curious to hear their perspective.
Sure.
What advantages does licensing offer over a completely open source model?
Well, they're essentially creating a franchise model for stablecoins.
A franchise model.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, Liquity V2 itself is immutable, meaning the core code can't be changed. They're giving other projects the ability to fork and adapt the code base to their specific needs.
Okay.
This could lead to a whole ecosystem of stablecoins.
Wow.
Built on Liquity's technology.
Interesting.
Each tailored to a different use case or community.
So it's about controlled expansion.
Exactly.
Allowing the Liquity model to flourish in different ecosystems.
Yeah.
Without diluting the core brand.
Exactly.
It's a fascinating approach.
It is.
But what about transparency?
Right. So the source code is still publicly available for anyone to audit and review.
Yeah.
This means the community can verify the security and functionality, just like with a traditional open source project.
So they're retaining some control over how the technology is used.
Yeah.
But they're not sacrificing transparency in the process.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
And each fork will have its own stablecoin and governance structure.
Okay.
So it's not like Liquity's creating a centralized monopoly. They're more like architects providing a blueprint.
I like that.
For others to build upon.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It sounds like they're trying to find that sweet spot between open innovation and controlled growth.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how this strategy plays out.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what makes Liquity V2 such a compelling case study.
It is.
In how DeFi protocols can evolve and adapt to this changing landscape.
For sure.
Agreed. It's clear they're not just building a product.
Right.
They're building a movement.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really resonates with the DeFi community.
Well said.
Yeah.
Now, before we wrap up this first part of our deep dive, there's one more key aspect we need to address.
Okay.
The vision for Liquity V2.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right.
What does Liquity ultimately hope to achieve with this upgrade?
Liquity is aiming for something pretty ambitious.
Okay.
To create a more governance-light, market-driven protocol. Their idea is that by giving users more control and making the system more responsive to market forces, Liquity V2 can become a more predictable and stable building block for the entire DeFi ecosystem.
So essentially, they're trying to create a decentralized stablecoin framework that's less susceptible to the whims of governance.
Exactly.
And more aligned with the underlying economics of the market.
Precisely.
And if they succeed, it could have profound implications for the future of DeFi.
Absolutely.
Just imagine a world where stablecoins are no longer subject to the volatility and uncertainty that we often see with heavily governed protocols.
It's a tantalizing prospect, and it speaks to the core ethos of DeFi, empowering individuals, fostering transparency, and creating a more open and accessible financial system.
Okay, I'm officially hooked.
Good.
This is definitely one to watch.
It is.
We'll dive deeper into the specific mechanics and implications of these features in the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
We'll be back soon to unpack all that and more.
Looking forward to it.
Till then, keep exploring.
Absolutely.
Welcome back to the deep dive.
Yeah.
We're in the thick of it now, exploring the intricacies of Liquity V2.
It is a deep dive.
Yeah. I'm still really intrigued by this user set interest rate mechanism.
Yeah.
It's such a radical departure from traditional finance.
It is.
But I have to admit, I'm curious how it plays out in practice.
Yeah.
So walk me through a potential scenario.
Okay.
Let's say the market gets jittery and there's downward pressure on Bold.
Yeah.
What happens to those borrowers who opted for those super low interest rates to minimize their costs?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
It highlights the inherent risk-reward dynamic at play.
Yeah.
Remember when Bold trades below its peg? Redemptions are triggered to bring it back in line.
Right.
And as we discussed earlier, those at the lowest interest rates are first in line to get redeemed.
So if you are aiming for maximum capital efficiency and you go for that lowest rate, you're essentially exposed to higher redemption risk.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important for users to carefully consider their risk tolerance and market conditions before setting those rates. It's not just about minimizing borrowing costs. It's about managing your exposure to potential redemptions.
It also sounds like a form of active portfolio management.
Yeah. I like that.
Where you're constantly adjusting your interest rate based on your outlook for Bold and the overall market sentiment.
That's a good way to think about it.
Yeah.
It adds a layer of strategic decision-making to the borrowing process that you don't really see in traditional finance or even in many other DeFi lending protocols.
It's definitely a game changer.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, shifting gears a bit.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier that Bold could be considered a DeFi treasury.
Right.
Can you expand on that idea?
Sure. What's unique about Bold is that it offers real yield generated from the interest paid by borrowers.
Yeah.
This is unlike many stablecoins that rely on external incentives or yield farming strategies to attract users.
Yeah. So just by holding Bold, you're essentially participating in the revenue generated by the protocol.
You got it.
Almost like owning a share of a decentralized bank.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And this passive income potential is one of the key differentiators for Bold.
Right.
In a crowded stablecoin market.
Yeah.
It's a compelling proposition for users who are looking for a more sustainable and transparent way to earn yield on their crypto assets.
Okay, so we've got this yield-generating stablecoin backed by a dynamic borrowing and lending market.
Right.
But let's not forget about the stability pool depositors.
Of course not. They're essential.
Right. They play a critical role.
They do.
In keeping this whole system afloat.
Absolutely. Without them, the whole system wouldn't work.
And as we discussed earlier, they're rewarded handsomely for their service.
They are.
Receiving 75% of the protocol's revenue.
That's a pretty sweet deal.
Yeah, it is.
It incentivizes users to contribute to the stability, creating this like virtuous cycle of security and rewards.
Yeah, it is a very interesting balance.
Yeah.
Okay, so the stability pool depositors are taking on a certain level of risk, but they're also reaping significant rewards.
Right.
Now, let's talk about that remaining 25% of the revenue.
Okay.
And how it connects to the LQTY staking and PIL mechanism.
Right. This is where the community governance aspect comes into play.
Okay.
Remember, PIL stands for Protocol Incentivized Liquidity.
Yeah.
And it's all about giving LQTY stakers a direct say in how that 25% slice of the revenue pie is allocated.
So it's like the decentralized venture fund.
Ooh, I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Controlled by the community that can be used to support a wide range of initiatives that benefit the Liquity ecosystem.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah. And what makes PIL so innovative is its flexibility and responsiveness. Unlike a fixed treasury controlled by the protocol, PIL can adapt to the changing needs of the market and community.
For example, if there's a sudden need for more liquidity in a particular market, the LQTY stakers could vote to allocate a portion of the PIL funds to incentivize liquidity providers.
Yeah, or if there's a new integration or partnership that requires funding, the community can directly support it through PIL.
So it's a very powerful tool.
It is.
For driving innovation and growth within the Liquity ecosystem.
Yeah, for sure.
I can see why people are excited about the potential of PIL.
Yeah.
It's a real step towards a more decentralized and community-driven approach to DeFi governance.
Absolutely. And it sets Liquity V2 apart from many other protocols that rely on more traditional governance structures or centralized control.
Okay, I think we've covered a lot of ground here.
We've talked about user-set interest rates, the role of the stability pool depositors, the mechanics of PIL, and how Bold is positioned as this yield-bearing DeFi treasury.
Exactly.
It's clear Liquity V2 is a complex and multifaceted beast.
It is. That's part of what makes it so fascinating to analyze.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on under the hood. Yeah. But it's all designed with a clear purpose to create a more robust, sustainable, and user-centric stablecoin ecosystem.
Well said. And I think it's important to acknowledge that Liquity isn't shying away
No.
From tackling some of the biggest challenges facing the DeFi space today.
Exactly, from addressing the volatility of stablecoins to empowering users and fostering community governance.
Right.
Liquity V2 is pushing the boundaries of what's possible in decentralized finance.
But let's not get too carried away by the hype.
Okay.
Even with all these innovative features.
Right.
There are still potential risks and challenges that Liquity V2 might face.
Absolutely. No system is perfect.
Right.
And the DeFi landscape is constantly evolving.
Yeah.
One of the biggest challenges for Liquity V2 will be attracting and retaining users in a highly competitive market.
It's one thing to build a great product.
It is.
But it's another thing entirely to convince people to use it.
You got it.
And trust it with their hard-earned crypto.
Exactly. Liquity will need to demonstrate the value proposition of Bold.
Right.
Not just as a stablecoin, but as a robust and yield-bearing asset that can compete with other DeFi protocols offering similar features.
And that means building a strong community.
Yeah.
Fostering partnerships and constantly innovating to stay ahead of the curve.
Right. They'll also need to navigate the regulatory landscape.
Okay, yeah, that's a valid point.
Which is becoming increasingly complex for DeFi projects.
As DeFi grows in popularity, regulators are taking notice. And it's essential for projects like Liquity to be proactive in ensuring compliance and building trust with policymakers.
I agree.
Another potential challenge is the risk of smart contract vulnerabilities.
Of course.
While the Liquity team has a solid track record of security, no system is foolproof.
Right.
Any exploit could have significant consequences for the protocol and its users.
Security is paramount in DeFi.
Yeah.
Liquity will need to continue investing in robust auditing and security measures to mitigate those risks.
And then there's the unpredictable nature of the crypto market itself.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Volatility, black swan events.
Yeah.
Unforeseen market shifts.
Yeah.
Could all impact the performance of Bold and the overall success of Liquity V2.
DeFi is not for the faint of heart.
No, it's not.
Liquity will need to demonstrate its resilience and ability to adapt to these ever-changing conditions.
For sure. It's a lot to consider.
Yeah.
But I believe that the Liquity team is well-equipped to tackle these challenges.
Yeah.
They have a strong track record, a clear vision, and a community-driven approach that fosters innovation and adaptability.
Well said.
Thanks.
It's going to be an exciting journey.
It is.
And I can't wait to see how Liquity V2 unfolds.
Me too.
And shapes the future of decentralized finance.
Yeah. Should be fascinating.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Oh.
You know, as we wrap up our exploration of Liquity V2, it's clear that this isn't just another stablecoin launch. This feels like a real shift in how we think about decentralized finance.
I think you've hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Liquity V2 is pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
Especially with this fork-friendly approach.
Right. It's like they've created a stablecoin factory.
It is.
But instead of churning out like identical products, they're providing the tools and the blueprints for others to build upon.
And that's what's so exciting.
Yeah.
Imagine a world where we have stablecoins tailored to specific communities or use cases, or even asset classes. We could see stablecoins backed by real estate commodities.
Wow.
Intellectual property.
Yeah.
The possibilities are vast.
Yeah, it's like opening up a whole new dimension.
It is.
Of DeFi.
Yeah.
Allowing for a level of customization and innovation that we've just never seen before.
And the beauty of it is that Liquity V2 can act as this solid, immutable core, ensuring that underlying stability and security of the system, while the forks can experiment and push the boundaries.
So it's brilliant.
It's a cool approach.
But let's step back for a moment.
Okay.
And consider the average DeFi user.
Right.
Someone who's maybe heard the buzz about Liquity V2.
Yeah.
But isn't quite sure how it all fits into their world.
Right.
What's the elevator pitch?
For the everyday user, Liquity V2 offers a pretty simple but powerful proposition.
Okay.
Deposit your crypto.
Yeah.
Mint Bold. Earn passive yield just by holding it. It's like a high-interest savings account, but in the decentralized world.
And with the added benefits of transparency, security, and control that come with DeFi.
Yeah, you're not relying on a third party to manage your funds.
Right.
You're in control.
You are.
And for those who want to borrow, the user set interest rate mechanism gives them unparalleled flexibility and the ability to tailor their borrowing costs to their risk appetite.
It's like having a personalized loan marketplace.
It is.
Right at your fingertip.
Right there in your pocket.
And let's not forget the potential impact on the wider DeFi ecosystem.
Huge.
Liquity V2 could become this foundational building block.
It could.
For a whole new wave of decentralized applications.
For sure.
From lending platforms to prediction markets and beyond.
Absolutely.
It's fascinating to think about the potential ripple effects.
Yeah.
But with all this talk of innovation and potential, we do need to acknowledge the elephant in the room. What are the risks?
Yeah, where could things go wrong? You're right. It's important to be realistic. One of the biggest challenges for Liquity V2 and for any DeFi project is navigating the regulatory landscape.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Governments around the world are still figuring out how to approach DeFi.
Right.
And there's always a risk of sudden policy changes that could disrupt the space.
That's a valid concern.
Yeah.
And it underscores the importance of projects like Liquity being proactive in engaging with regulators and advocating for responsible innovation.
I agree.
Another risk, of course, is the inherent complexity of DeFi.
Yeah.
While Liquity V2 has been designed with user-friendliness in mind, it still requires a certain level of technical understanding.
It does.
To fully grasp the mechanics.
Yeah.
It's crucial for users to do their own research.
Yeah.
Understand the risks involved, and maybe start with small amounts before diving in head first.
Absolutely. It's like any new technology.
Right.
There's a learning curve.
There is.
But that's where resources like the deep dive come in, right? We're here to help break down these complex concepts and make them accessible to everyone.
That's what we try to do.
Yeah, the more informed users are, the better equipped they'll be to make sound decisions and participate in this exciting new financial frontier.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks.
And let's not forget the ever-present risk of smart contract vulnerabilities.
Of course.
Liquity has a strong track record of security.
Yeah.
But no system is foolproof.
Right. And any exploit could have serious consequences.
Absolutely.
Security audits, bug bounties, and ongoing community vigilance are paramount in DeFi.
It's an ongoing process.
It is.
And the Liquity team needs to remain committed to maintaining the highest levels of security.
I agree.
Okay, so we've talked about regulatory uncertainty, user education, and smart contract risks. Are there any other potential pitfalls that we should be aware of?
Well, there's always the unpredictable nature of the crypto market itself.
Yeah, of course.
Volatility, black swan events, unforeseen market shifts, all of these things could impact the performance of Bold and the overall success of Liquity V2.
Yeah, DeFi is not for the faint of heart.
It's not.
It's a high-risk, high-reward space.
Yeah.
And anyone who enters this world needs to be prepared for the unexpected.
Absolutely. But despite these risks, I believe the potential benefits of Liquity V2 far outweigh the drawbacks.
Okay.
It's a bold experiment in decentralized finance.
Yeah.
And it has the potential to revolutionize the way we think about money and value.
I agree. Liquity V2 is more than just a technological innovation.
It's a movement.
Yeah.
It's a social and economic experiment.
It's about empowering individuals.
Yeah.
Fostering transparency and building a more equitable and inclusive financial system.
And that's what makes it so compelling.
Yeah.
It's not just about making money. It's about building a better future.
Well said. I think that's a perfect note to end on.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Liquity V2.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you learned something new and that you are inspired to explore this groundbreaking project further.
Absolutely check it out.
The future of finance is being written right now.
Yeah.
And we all have a role to play.
We do.
Stay curious, stay informed, and keep diving deep.
Absolutely.